I've had a couple of you guys ask about this mash stirrer. Got incredible efficiency with this thing. Last 3 weeks in a row we've gotten between 85 and 90%. I think everybody kind of gets the concept. It's an ice cream motor. This is the stem from a Sankey keg. Just some cheap paddles from the dollar store, cheap spatulas. Cut some grooves into the Sankey stem with a grinder and stick the paddles through, and we just have them locked in with some stainless steel screws. That way, you know, it's real easy to pull apart and clean. We got our sparge arm down here. Doesn't turn or anything, but the sparging works really well. We do 10-gallon batches, so the grain bed is very deep. We don't have to worry about channeling because we use a manifold inside the mash tun. The way we mounted this, we captured the whole thing inside of this lid. The lid locks down with these two bolts into some slots in the brew kettle. So once this is locked down, everything else is independent. We actually used the, I don't know if you can see this piece. This piece is out of a Sankey keg as well. These springs came out of the Sankey keg. These springs allow this thing to just kind of grind around and it's flexible so that it doesn't break. It allows it to just lock down on here really good. If you can see in here, there's a couple little pieces that we used to lock this piece down. And this piece is just acting as a spacer. There's some washers up top here that this thing kind of all turns on and gives a good surface to turn on, so you're not, you know, grinding wood. And this whole piece down here just free floats in the keg. Our manifold sits right around here, and then you have the bottom of the kettle. And there's nothing down here that's grinding or moving that would cause any kind of shavings or anything like that. I can plug this thing in for you guys and show you what it looks like running. The speed is really nice. Perfect for what we're using it for. The spacing of the paddles, you know, it's just all up to your imagination. The only thing we were really trying to avoid is to keep them up off of the manifold. And we wanted to keep them away from our thermometer that was sticking out a little bit. The way we attach the ice cream motor to the stem, the ice cream motor actually has, it's all plastic, and it's got a plastic square recess. Okay, we found a square nut that fit into that. So we had the square nut, and we tack welded that onto the top of a piece of all thread, and then we put 3 regular nuts on the other end of a piece of all thread, about 4 or 5 inches long. And then we took the stem of the Sankey keg and we just kind of smashed that to the same shape as the nuts, so that it would, you know, it would force it to turn. And we drilled a few holes in the stem, and I tack welded the stem to the nuts. And we take that whole thing and capture it here, and that's how we change from a plastic piece in the motor to the metal shaft. It's not actually attached, but it's sandwiched between the wood and this motor so that everything stays together. This was an idea we had a few months ago. We like playing around with stuff in the garage. We like building this stuff. Didn't know quite how it would work out. I know it right at this point looks a little cheesy, and it's more of a concept piece, but I really couldn't be more impressed with the efficiency numbers we've got with it. It allows us to have a manifold in our mash tun, and it allows us to stir so that we can put heat under the mash tun. We can raise our temperatures quickly or slowly. Whenever we put a flame under the mash tun, we turn the stirrer on. That way we don't get any kind of hot spots or burn spots. I couldn't be more impressed with the way it works. I'm not sure how long this motor is going to hold up. I do get some steam that comes up through this hole into this motor. Like I said, I've used it for a total of 3 batches, and I'll let you guys know how long it lasts. The motor came from a Goodwill store. I'm looking for a couple more. We have one backup, and I'm hoping it'll last. You know, if it lasts 4, 5, 6 months, then I'll just keep buying them, because it's the perfect torque. It's the perfect speed. I can't imagine having to put some other type of motor and gear it faster or slower and try to get the right torque out of it. Have some good ideas, because I'm probably going to rebuild this. Like I said, this is just kind of a concept, and it's worked really good so far. I'm definitely going to use it until I break it. But next time I build it, I'd like to put the paddles on the outside without cutting grooves, and I'm looking for a way to lock those paddles in. You want to have the paddles at an angle like this so that it draws the mash up from the bottom and circulates everything really well. I'm thinking of getting some paddles and bending U shapes on some metal, stainless steel handles, and coming off of there like that. I haven't quite got it all in my head yet, but I'm going to start working on it soon. So if anybody's got any really good ideas I can incorporate in my next one, let me know, and I'll take them into account.